All right, guys, welcome back. In this video, we're going to go over decoding and figuring out what's really behind this Titan submersible that's sunk on its way to explore the Titanic. And in this video, I'm going to pretty much expose how this is clearly tied to the Federal Reserve System, the gold standard, and how this is symbolic for some sort of money thing that's coming up, guys. Some sort of banking, money, Federal Reserve thing, okay? And obviously, we've already had the bank failures this year. And Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve, has been in the news a lot this month for the talking about the rate hikes and all this other stuff. But I'm going to show you just how tied in this submersible sinking was to this whole narrative, okay? So this guy here is the founder of the submersible company that, they were on when they went in, and it's called Ocean Gate. This is Richard Stockton Rush, okay? And this guy is super coded in about every way possible. This guy is super coded. I want you guys to notice something first. This is going to be all about money, okay? Federal Reserve and gold, okay? The gold standard, the gold rush. Notice that his last name is Rush, like the gold rush, and his middle name is Stock, like the stock market, okay? And his first name, Rich, Stock, and Rush. Rich, Stock, and Rush. All words associated with the stock market, the gold rush, and rich, okay? Now, he was born in San Francisco. San Francisco is the Golden Gate Bridge, the gold rush, okay? Gold rush. Do you see what I mean? He died on 618. 618 is the golden ratio. The golden ratio number is 1.618. Okay? Now, if you go up here, you're going to see that the date, here, let me get it here. The date that he died, okay, 618, which is the golden ratio, 1.618, is the day leaving 196 days left in the year. This is another tie to the gold element, okay? So not only is this the golden ratio, but the days left in the year are 1 in 96, and 196 is the atomic mass of gold. Let's look at this, guys. 196, okay, is the atomic mass of gold. So he dies on the golden ratio, 618, and he dies on the 196 days left in the year. 196 is the atomic mass of gold. And going back to him, he has the rush right in his name, not to mention he was born in San Francisco, where the Golden Gate Bridge is located. And, the gold rush happened in that area of the United States back in the time of the gold rush. So this is the first tie to the gold rush. I also want you guys to notice that he is supposedly the descendant of two of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, Benjamin Rush and Richard Stockton, okay? So he's literally supposedly a descendant of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, okay? And notice that he has the Philadelphia connection, right? The Freedom City, the Declaration, right? The Freedom Bell, the Philadelphia, hugely connected to this nation's history. All right. So, with those things being out of the way, I want to show you just how important this is. So, I told you that he dies on 618, the golden ratio. All right. And they were on the search for finding the Titanic, which a bunch of rich people supposedly died on, right? His name is Richard. And supposedly a bunch of rich people died on the Titanic, and he was on his way, supposedly, to investigate with other people the Titanic wreck. And so how's this tie into the Titanic? Well, if you go, let's take a look at the Federal Reserve first before I get to this. The Federal Reserve was started. The American Federal Reserve was started on December 23rd, 1913. Okay, the Titanic sunk on April 15th, 1912. 1 year and some change before. Now, just wait till I show you this. From the sinking of the Titanic to the creation of the Federal Reserve is 618 days, guys. 618. From the sinking of the Titanic, which Richard Stockton Rush was investigating, to the founding of the Federal Reserve, 618, and Richard Stockton Rush dies on 618. Okay? So the amount of days are encoded between the sinking. Here's the sinking of the Titanic, Monday, April 15th, 1912. The founding of the Federal Reserve, Tuesday, December 23rd, 1913. 618, the golden ratio. Stockton Rush dies looking for the Titanic on 618. All right? I hope you guys can see just how clear this is. Now, the current head of the Federal Reserve is Jerome Powell. Jerome Powell, okay? And he's been in the news a lot lately because of the bank collapses that happened this year, all right? And all this stuff is connected to Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve. So I just showed you the 618 connection between the Titanic and the Federal Reserve and the day that Richard Stockton Rush died. And if we go from the birthday, let me just show you his birthday, guys. The birthday of Jerome Powell. All right. And just notice that he's in the news a lot, speaking with the Senate on the banking panel. All right. And he was born on February 4th, 1953. 1953, February 4th. So from his last birthday to the sinking of and the implosion of this Titan submersible is 134 days. 134 days. Now, you guys might ask, why is this important? Well, I'm going to get to that in a minute. But the main number I want to notice, you guys to notice here in connection with the Titanic, is that from Jerome Powell's last birthday, the head of the Federal Reserve, from Jerome Powell's last birthday to the date of the submersible is 4 months and 14 days. When did the Titanic begin to sink, guys? It began to sink on 4/14, or if you add the date, it officially sunk on 4/15. Okay, just let me show you. It's 4 months and 15 days after Jerome Powell's birthday on 6/18, when the submersible looking for the Titanic imploded and the Titanic sunk on 4/15 in history. Okay, 4/15. Right here, guys. 4/15, 1912. And I already tied the Federal Reserve because it was 618 days from the sinking of the Titanic to the Federal Reserve. They imploded on 6/18, and then 130, and then 4 months and 15 days after the current Federal Reserve Chairman's birthday is the Titanic's sink date, 4/15. I hope you guys understand that. Okay. Now, back to the gold connection. If we go over to here, the gold chart, guys, the gold chart, this is the chart, the technical analysis chart for gold. And this is going to tell us, if you guys look up here, just keep your eye up here in this area. And when I hover over the date where the submersible Titan was finally discovered that it had imploded, the price of gold closed its low, had a low price on this day when the Titan submersible was discovered, had a low price of 1912. Okay, 1912. What year did the Titanic sink? 1912, guys. So the code is perfect with this gold connection. And the day that the Titan submersible was discovered, the price of gold closed at 1912, the year the Titanic sank. There was also a story recently that there was a gold necklace with a tooth of a megalodon found on the Titanic wreck. Now, this story came out just days or weeks before this submersible story happened. Okay, so this gold tie is, and of course, guys, the Titanic was full of rich people, and gold is associated with rich people, right? So I just thought I'd bring that up. Now, you guys might ask, why do I connect all this? Well, let's go to the gematria, guys. Let's go to the gematria. The guy that imploded in the submersible, Richard Stockton Rush, is a direct match to the Federal Reserve System. Okay, it's called the Federal Reserve System, and he is a direct match in all ciphers to Richard Stockton Rush and Federal Reserve System. Okay, we are currently in the 109-year anniversary. Okay, if we go from the Federal Reserve being created on 12/23/1913 to this year, we'll just go to the date of the sinking or the implosion of the submersible. We're in the 109th year since the Federal Reserve was created. And I want you to notice that Ripple XRP equals 109. And this is where I get into the connection with Ripple XRP. Okay. Now, if we go back here, we're going to see that the Federal Reserve current chairman, Jerome Powell, born on 2nd or 4th of February, to the date that submersible imploded is 134 days. 134 days, guys. In gematria, Ripple XRP equals 134 and 109. And we're currently in the 109th year. Okay, I just showed you. We're in the 109th year right here since the Federal Reserve was created. And this implosion happened 134 days after the current Federal Reserve chairman's birthday. So both numbers connected with Ripple XRP, 134 days after the current Federal Reserve chair and the 109th year since the Federal Reserve started. Also notice that world reserve currency equals 109, just like Ripple XRP. And world reserve currency has a two-cipher match with Richard Stockton Rush, the guy who died, 269 and 116, 269, 116. Now, Richard Stockton Rush was a descendant of Benjamin Rush, who signed the Declaration of Independence. Right here, guys. It says in his bio that he was a descendant of Benjamin Rush, who signed the Declaration of Independence. And look at this, guys. Benjamin Rush equals 134, just like Ripple XRP. And again, 134 days after the current Federal Reserve chairman's birthday. Okay? And it's the gold day, 196. Gold has an atomic weight of 196. Now, why is this year so important for gold? Because the gold standard was decided on July 22nd, 1944. This is when the gold standard became active in the United States. This happened. Now, since then, we have been taken off the gold standard on August 15, 1971. But the gold standard was decided on in the Bretton Woods moment. The Bretton Woods system started with the gold standard on July 22nd, 1944. That means from the Bretton Woods system, the gold standard, okay, which was all about using the U.S. dollars would be backed by gold, okay. From the day they decided that, July 22nd, 1944. Let me get that date up for you guys. July 22nd, 1944 to this year's anniversary of the gold standard is 79 years. Now, what is the atomic element of gold? What is the atomic number? It's 79. So on July 22nd, it will be 79 years since the Bretton Woods gold standard was made, and the atomic element of gold is 79. The atomic number is 79. Okay? So, and another thing connection to Ripple XRP is that Ripple XRP is currently in a lawsuit, but they're based out of San Francisco. Okay? And San Francisco is where this man, Richard Stockton Rush, was from. So Ripple is based out of the same city as this Richard Stockton Rush. Okay. Now, Jerome Powell, being tied to this, being chair of the Federal Reserve, and him being 134 days after his birthday on this day. Now, in history, the patent for the XRP ledger, was patented by David Schwartz on 6/18/1991. And you're going to notice, guys, that from this patent of the original ledger for the XRP all the way back in 1991 on 6/18, this year's the 32nd anniversary. And look at this, guys. 11688, which is the date 6/18. Okay? It's the golden ratio. But the big number here is that the XRP ledger patent was granted to David Schwartz on 134 date numerology. And again, this Titan submersible sank 134 days, imploded 134 days after the current Federal Reserve Chairman's birthday. Okay, and I just showed you that Ripple XRP equals 134. And the patent for the ledger was granted on 134 date numerology. So you guys see how tied in this is. It's so obvious. And remember, guys, the big takeaway here is that Richard Stockton Rush, the guy who was on that submersible, is a direct match to Federal Reserve System and a two-cipher match to world reserve currency, which leads us to, this XRP connection. So anyways, guys, I wanted to go over this. I wanted to show the clear connections to this, and I think it's pretty obvious to me, What are the chances that the Titanic was sank 6/18 days before the Federal Reserve, and now on 6/18, this submersible implodes, right? The Federal Reserve. And don't forget, guys, I mentioned this in one of my posts, but in a few days, the WWE, the wrestling company, is having a event called Money in the Bank. So just so you guys can see that right now there's a lot of money stuff going on. I don't know what's going to happen or when it's going to happen, but all I know is the symbolism is very clear. So anyways, guys, take care out there. Thanks for watching as always. Please like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you all. I'll see you guys in the next video.